Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have a monumental day here on Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, a pretty historic day as far as Mattel goes, in a way, because this is the very first wild pack now to ever get a review on my channel. We previously have had attack packs all the way up until this point, and they now have officially transferred over to wild packs, and we have probably one of, for sure, the most exciting species, in my opinion, to enter the Mattel line ever, but definitely one of the most exciting figures of this style that they've released, and easily the nicest looking one out of all of the newer wild packs that I've seen so far. As you can see, this is the Zuniceratops, and it is beautiful looking. Like, I've been having a pretty good conversation with my good buddy Hatbox Ghost, who, by the way, I have to thank for this figure, as he actually sent this along with two other of the newer wild packs over to me. He's always helping me out to acquire things that I'm on the lookout for, because my area is garbage when it comes to Jurassic hunting, so a huge thank you goes out to him. But we've also been having a nice conversation about how good this figure is overall, and we both agree that it's easily the best Ceratopsian. From what I've seen from images, it's my first time really taking a look at it here in person. Of all the Ceratopsians from the Mattel line, I think this is definitely the nicest, so I cannot wait to get this out of the packaging. But here on the back, we have a look at the others that are included in the first wave of wild packs, which would be a really cool repaint of the Herrerasaurus, a Dimorphodon, of course our Zuniceratops we have currently, and the Dracorex. And I have all of these here to take a look at except for the Herrerasaurus, which he will be sending over hopefully very soon, and we will get that one up and reviewed also. But I cannot wait to get this open, so let's break it out of its box right now. And here is our wild pack Zuniceratops, and look at how gorgeous of a figure this is. Like, that sculpt is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful on the part of Mattel, and definitely a really nice, very vibrant and highly detailed looking model. Like, the scale detail is really nicely done on this figure, and I'm a huge fan of the paint scheme that they've gone with on it. Like, I really love the tones of color, and just in general the paint application that they've given it. It looks really nice, really natural on the figure and on the species. And again, the sculpt is just gorgeous looking here at first glance. So let's go ahead, jump straight to a closer look right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Zuniceratops, the skin texture is honestly off the charts. Like, it is really nice, and I love how there's like a huge drastic difference between the skin texture that you see here in the face, like near the nasal area and the eye socket, like between those two areas, all down here. That skin texture is really quite different than the really nice scale detail you see up on the frill. Very cool looking as far as that detailing standpoint goes. You can see that the nostrils themselves are sculpted really beautifully. The eye is also sculpted really quite nicely. The eye paint, it's a little sloppy, but it's not too bad. I don't think it's missed the mark enough to really complain about, especially when you take a step back, you don't really notice it. So the eye placement isn't perfect, but it's not terrible either. The eyes are painted with like an orangish tone of color, and it's tough to really tell if we have a black pupil or if it's just the dark blue that is like the primary coloration of the head, but it looks good whatever it is. You can see the beak is also really quite beautifully sculpted, sporting some pretty nice looking detail there, and a really nice grayish coloration for the beak, as well as our Zuniceratops horns, which you can see like some really nice cracks and crevices within, so it has a very realistic looking sculpt. And if we take a look over here at the opposing side of the head, the eye placement is perfect on this side. So of course it would be perfect on the eye that's facing the outside of the package, but regardless, the eye looks great on this side. So if I were to display it, obviously this would be the side to do that from. But again, the horn and the beak, as well as everything else here on the head sculpt of the Zuniceratops, is gorgeous looking. As you lead up into the frill, again, the actual scale detail is super nice looking. Like, it is so beautifully done. It almost looks like it's just begging for a nice dark wash, or even a lighter wash with the darker coloration of the head to be included. But obviously that's not something that you would see from a Mattel figure. But I think that the paint application, again, is nothing overly flashy, but really looks good, again, in comparison to the greenish body. Like, that darker face and frill is super cool looking. You can also see some gorgeous looking skin texture here on the underside of the Zuniceratops. As you lead back here into the neck, you can see some really nice tensing there in the neck. Like, you can actually see just generally like the muscles tensing and stuff. That looks really nice. And you can also see that the back of the frill, actually we can lean the head forward so you can see the back of the frill is gorgeous as far as that skin detail, that really nice scale detail back here. And it almost honestly looks like it has some different tones of like lighter and darker shades of blue, but I don't really know if that's the case. It might just be my eyes playing with me, but it does look really quite nice. And you can also see again the really nice detailing here on the upper side of the neck, as well as a ball joint right there, which seems we have some beautiful looking articulation for the neck, which I just hit the camera, but it definitely looks really smooth. But we will check out the articulation here in due time. You can also see the spinal column running along the back of the dinosaur, and you can also see that the scale detail is super vibrant here throughout this model. I feel like the Mattel line has recently just gotten so much better as far as how good the detailing aspect of their figures looks when it comes to just how vibrant the detail is on the sculpts. Like, that scale detail just pops beautifully. And I love the green coloration and that darker blue and the way it kind of stripes and spots down. Man, it's just so nice to look at. Beautiful looking paint application. Leading down here into the leg of our Zuniceratops, you can see some very nice muscle definition throughout the entire leg. You have a really nice foot sculpt. Unfortunately, we do not have any nails painted or anything like that, but you can see that there is a speckling included throughout the body, all over the place, honestly, with like that dark blue just kind of speckles all over, which looks really cool. You can see like some skin wrinkles and stuff here in the stomach region, especially in the lower part leading to the underbelly. But as you lead back up here into the stomach, we pick up with more of that gorgeous scale detail. As we lead back here into the hip area, you can sort of make out the hip bone a little bit right there. And we also have some nice muscle definition in both the thigh and calf region, as well as the kneecap present here in the front of the figure. And the rear foot sculpt also looks quite nice. Again, no nail paint, but it's not the end of the world as far as that goes. And then we lead up here into that gorgeous looking tail. Again, more of that really nice scale detail. And I love that the blue actually runs the entire length of the tail. So that is a huge plus as far as this figure goes. Like, it just looks so much better with having this nice dark blue on the face. And then it runs the entire course of the figure all the way out onto the tail. I really hope Mattel continues to do that, because it's not that much more paint application, but it honestly makes a world of difference as far as the overall appeal factor goes. And then if we take a look at the opposing side, again, you can see more of like that tensing in the neck right there. Whenever we look at it from whatever side, it all looks really nice. We have more of the beautiful dark blue, and I love that as you move that, like the dark blue disappears, but as you move it forward, you could see that the dark blue continues there. So no matter where you actually turn the head to, the dark blue here doesn't like disconnect. It's still connecting to the dark blue on the back. Of course, being an articulated figure like this, you're not going to see too much difference here on this side compared to the previous side. You can see that it looks just absolutely incredible on this side like it did on the previous side. And you can see that when it's put in like the position that it's meant to be standing in, that there is definitely some difference as far as the positioning of the legs, as the right leg is forward a little bit further than the left leg here on the front legs. And then in the rear, the right leg is just a little bit further back than the left leg, but it all looks really nice. Again, beautiful muscle definition sculpted out throughout both of the legs, and just generally very nice, very highly detailed sculpt in the leg and body department. And then you lead out the length of the tail again, which looks really nice. It almost actually looks like there's like a scar right there. Like, it looks like Mattel meant to sort of sculpt out a scar on our dinosaur. I don't know if that's actually something that is meant to be like a scar, or if that's just some more attempt at skin texture, but it definitely looks really cool. And then we've got the entire underside of the Zuniceratops, which also looks really quite nice. Lots of speckles down here as well, which is something that I actually do quite like about this figure. And there is the Jurassic Facts app code, if my camera would focus. There we go, if you would like to add this to your collection. But this Zuniceratops is definitely my new favorite. Attack Pack, Wild Pack, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely my favorite. It is just incredible looking. And then as far as articulation goes on our figure, and this is something that my buddy Hatbox Ghost and I were talking about. He was telling me about how smooth and nice the articulation is in the neck. So we can see that we can go down, we can go up, and ooh, that is really smooth. That's very, very nice looking and very smooth articulation. Looks nice and natural no matter which position you put it in. And we also have a swivel, so we can swivel the head back and forth all over. We can even turn it upside down if we would really like, which I don't know why you would want to do that, but that's definitely some really, really nice looking smooth articulation in the neck region of the Zuniceratops. And of course you have articulation in the legs, which works really nicely, and then articulation in the rear legs also. And let's see if we can move it away from the body. Not really. That's something that you don't often usually get with like attack pack figures, but it doesn't hurt to check. And then we also have articulation in the tail with a very nice swivel, which as well is really smooth. And of course, the figure being a quadruped stands beautifully. There are no balancing issues with it at all. As far as a size goes, for a length on our Zuniceratops, you are looking at about 6 3/4 inches or around the 17 centimeter mark. And then for a height, the highest point would definitely be the frill. You are looking at closing in on 3 3/4 inches, but not quite there, or just like a hair over 9 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line in comparison to our Wild Pack Zuniceratops, and you can quite clearly see that as far as like a size goes, it's still following in the same size group as the Attack Packs because it is just an Attack Pack with a new name, but as far as the size in general goes, it looks gorgeous, and of course, if you already have any attack packs, you'll already know roughly what the size is, but if not, hopefully these figures will help to show you that it's definitely a really quite nicely sized figure overall. So this Mattel Jurassic World Dino Escape Wild Pack Zuniceratops is beautiful and definitely my new favorite attack pack, wild pack, whatever you want to call it. From this style figure, it's without question my new favorite, and definitely my new favorite ceratopsian out of all of the ceratopsians Mattel has produced. The only one I would say that would come close would probably be the Sinoceratops, and then maybe the Protoceratops would be trailing behind there somewhere, but this Zuniceratops is again such a surprising choice if you ask me. It's not something that I figured they would have made, and I love that Mattel has been doing that lately, like really coming with some off-the-wall stuff that you just aren't expecting, like a Seats we had. You know, that's crazy. I think Mattel's like the only company I can think of that has a Seats out, and there are very few that as well have a Zuniceratops out, so that's really awesome. Again, for them to be reaching into their bucket of dinosaur species and pulling out some of the more obscure ones and creating them. And this one, again, is another species that I feel like they really did justice. The sculpt is beautiful, very highly detailed, and again, like I had said earlier, I feel like the detailing on these Mattel figures lately has just been so much more vibrant than they used to be, just more highly detailed overall, and the actual like skin texture and scale detail just pops so much better than it used to, which is really impressing me continuously with every figure that they release, especially when it comes to like newer sculpts. Like, it may not look as nice as this when you see some of like the reused or repainted sculpts like the Dimorphodon and Dracorex that we have here to look at as well, but the newer sculpts are absolutely fantastic from a detailing standpoint. And of course, the paintwork is beautifully done. I love the paint scheme they've chosen for this. Definitely one of the most visually appealing paint schemes that I feel like Mattel has come up with in quite a while. And it's nothing overly flashy. It's nothing complicated. It's just straight to the point. A really nice natural looking coloration. And we only really have two colors included, which would be the dark blue and the green. And then, of course, like, you know, the coloration of the horns and the eyes. But the two main body colors would just be that dark blue and the green, and it looks so nice. And the inclusion of paint all the way out onto the tail is just absolutely awesome. That's something that I've been asking Mattel to start doing for a long time, as well as many others have been asking Mattel to start doing for a very long time. And it's nice to see that they have actually done that here on the Zuniceratops. Now, if we could just convince them to start painting all of the nails of the figures, we would definitely be on the right course. But this Zuniceratops, again, is beautiful. A really nice sculpt, really nice paint job, beautiful articulation, and an overall incredible figure. So if you are interested in this, I do believe my buddy Hatbox Ghost actually scored this at Kroger, so I know it has been showing up along with all of the other Wild Packs at Kroger stores here in the United States. Hopefully they'll start showing up at Targets and Walmarts at some point soon too, but again, if you have a Kroger near you, make sure you check it out. Buy yourself this awesome Zuniceratops, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.